All right, guys, welcome back. I wanted to share with you a couple of juicy trading opportunities that are on the radar for all of you traders that like to trade off of structure. Also, there's a couple of breakout setups that could play out later today. And as you know, I like to put out these trades in advance rather than hindsight, so people can't say, you only share your winning trades and all the rest of it. I think you get much more value from me putting trade ideas out so that you can see the thought process behind it. 'Cause you're going to learn much more that way, because whether it wins or loses, the thing is consistency and building a plan of high probabilities. That's all we want to do as traders, okay? So first one I want to share with you is on the Aussie CAD, and this is a buying structure-based setup, and we're approaching a discretionary level of mine. And when I just say that, it's not that I, get a feel for what the market's going to do and just, think that I know what the market's going to do, but actual fact, I have certain price points across several markets that I have noted down that I pay attention to. And if we approach those, I can either change my approach to entries and be a little bit more aggressive, because I know that these levels have a high probability of a reaction. They're protected levels, major levels of structure. And one of the ones on Aussie CAD, you might have heard me say this before, is 9100. And that is where we just recently had this low test wick. The bottom of that wick was at 9100. And if we just scroll back, you can see that we held this level here, we held it here, we held it here, right here. And if we go back even more, you can see like right on that level, we're respected more often than not. Look at that. Major significance, right? Became resistance, 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 became support, and so on and so on and so on. And we're approaching that level now. We've actually just dipped down and touched that level following this big bearish run candle here, right? So this is a daily time frame. So what we can start to look at on here is a double bottom, because we've already put in the initial test. Now we're just looking for a valid double bottom. So I don't want a big push back up into structure, then a retest. What I want is a nice little time and price symmetry V, upwards, upside down V, or whatever you want to call it. And then look for that to close, that second test to close, and for that to be a valid double bottom. Now, for some of you, you'll need RSI to be oversold on the first test. It depends on the time frame. If you're trading the hourly, some of you like to have that. If you're trading 4 hour, it's more powerful, therefore you don't look for that. Ideally, we would have a more oversold condition, but technically it is. So anything below 30 is considered oversold. Some of you have 20 as an extreme filter. But what we've done now is we've put in the first test, and we've actually tested the second test, which means we have to test this low but not break below this low. And you can see we've tested that, right? If I just draw this line on straight, that would help. But there you go. You can see that we've tested that zone, not broken, closed below that zone. And now all we have to do is wait for this to close, and then we can get in a nice, say it closes here. We only need an ATR, which I think is 40, 50 pips, something like that, below this low of risk. And then targets, I'm not going to fight beyond structure because there's no need. And we can get a nice just over a 2-to-1 reward to risk, maybe a 2-to-1 reward to risk. Okay, so 40 pips on the table, 80 pips of profit. So that's pretty nice, and that's something I'll be looking at. The next one is on the pound Aussie, and it's a similar setup. I'll go out to the daily time frame and show you, but this is a massive bullish run. Okay, really nice. I love it when we see these big bullish runs. Why? Because they can't go on forever. And we know that they're likely to slow down. And then when they slow down whilst we're approaching another major level of structure, which just so happens to be here, we could potentially look at shorting. So now we're just witnessing price decelerating at that level, okay, on the trading time frame. And again, I'll be looking for a double top here, probably on the hourly, but we haven't got one at the moment. All right, so it's a little way off. So it's a good chance to show you guys something in advance so you can follow it along. If we break and close above this red zone, then I can look for a pullback and look to buy. Because remember, we've got that big zone looking left up here for potential targets. We've got a zone here for the next resistance level, and then the next one's right up here. So loads of room for potential movement to the upside. But in the interim, we could take a shot at this short at 79.50, which is another discretionary level. All right, so there's that one. Finally, the other two breakout setups are on yen pairs. So we've got the pound yen, and what you can see, looking left, the next resistance level's up here at 166 or 167 flat. All right, and this is like since December 22, had this big roll off, and the next resistance zone from now is up there. Okay. Now there's lots of inside structure levels that we'll have to fight through to get there, but what I'm saying is there's plenty of room for movement to the upside, and we've just recently, if you were following this along in my live room, you'll see that we had this compression channel on a breakout, which is very typical. We broke and closed above the previous high, so if we can get a pullback, we can look to get on this, and then this will be a setup. If we can get in on a good entry signal, we can start trailing those stops up. Best case scenario, you've got a huge move if you capture this entire move of profit. Next one is the dollar yen. Similar, we put out this, this was like a compression channel, flag pattern, wedge, whatever you want to call it. We had a breakout, likely to test this high. On the way up, we can wait for a pullback and look to jump on this to ride it up, similar to the pound yen, except you're probably not going to get that opportunity. The dollar yen just doesn't move like that. The dollar yen consolidates and breaks out and consolidates and breaks out. You rarely get these nice pullbacks that you do on other pairs. So it's a love-hate relationship in that way with this pair. But if we do push up to this zone, which again is the previous high, which you can see here, there could be a structure-based short there as well. So being able to adapt, being able to be ahead of the market. There's 4 setups. 2 are really close to completion. One's really close, just waiting for the candle to close. Next one, we're waiting for a double top. These 2 are waiting for a pullback. And I hope you follow it along. If you've got any questions, let me know. Let me know what you're looking at and what pairs you're looking at, what setups you've got, and how you would trade these as well. And also, if you're not subscribed to this channel or you've never liked a video, give it a little like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.